Welcome back to the Birdies and Bourbon show. You see two familiar faces here. I don't know, maybe you're becoming familiar now too, Steve. That's Dan. I'm Cal. We got Steve Canepa on, CFO for Filmland Spirits. I've been on the show a couple times, doing some great things at Filmland, and I'm going to be sipping on a little old fashioned with Moonlight Mayhem. As you can see, I've definitely got to replenish the bottle. So, how about you, Steve? What are you drinking tonight?
I got an old fashioned too, but I prefer the rye. So this is our Rise of the Robots. Same proof as the bourbon you're drinking, but this is the one I prefer to make my cocktails with.
Okay. Well, you never know. I mean, halfway through this thing, I may exit stage left and whip up another one. We'll see how that goes. So cool. So we're going to chat. We'll chat a little bit about what happened this weekend. We're obviously going to chat about the PGA Championship at Oak Hill Country Club this week. But hey, congratulations, Jason Day, huh? I mean, what a drought that guy was on, and shows up at the Byron Nelson, and yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good tournament. I thought Siwoo was going to catch him. Siwoo is out there doing Siwoo kind of things, but yeah, it's definitely adding an interesting mix to things coming into the PGA Championship this week. Yeah. I would say
huge week, good leaderboard. And what can you say? I mean, Cal, you and I talked about it all year. We saw that Jason Day was, in good form and only continued from there. I think we predicted in January he was going to win a tournament this year, and here we go, right in line for major season. So we could see if he can pull anything else off here. But yeah, 100%. We've been on board with that, and great to see it, right?
Yeah, I thought I was in a time warp seeing Jason Day and Ryan Palmer on a leaderboard, taking myself back a few years. It was great to see Ryan play well again too. He faded a little bit on Sunday, but it still had a great showing. So I thought it was really enjoyable to see some of the old faces out there.
Yeah, I mean, Scottie Scheffler showing up, T5, kind of getting it done. He didn't have the best, Saturday? I think he shot a 71 outside of that. I mean, he got sub 65 rounds. Terrell Hatton. I actually thought Terrell was going to kind of do something, and we'll talk a little bit about what potentially is going to happen in Rochester this week, because we have a little weather coming into the PGA Championship. But yeah, good to see. Speaking of Jason Day making a comeback, does Jason Day make a comeback if Dustin Johnson doesn't win on the LIV Tour for the first time this season, I believe. Yeah, first time this season. And definitely going to add some color coming into the PGA Championship with what looks like a pretty good stable of LIV guys, man. It's quite impressive.
Yeah, that leaderboard, I mean, he's from if you were a novice comparing leaderboards, on Sunday, it's like, whoa, there's a lot of names over here on the CW. So it's opening some eyes. I think so, for sure.
If you can make it past the Gilmore Girls, you probably got something to watch there. So, and we'll talk about these guys, but I mean, you got Taylor Gooch back-to-back wins. Koepka's got a win in Orlando. Before heading into Augusta? Charles Howell III. Dustin Johnson just won in Tulsa. So yeah, I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how these guys stack up, especially what we saw from those guys coming into Augusta, and the noise. I think I told you, Dan and Steve, you probably listened, but nothing but love for those guys. But now Bryson DeChambeau may not have got any attention from anybody, but outside of Bryson, everybody just chumming it up. You wouldn't have known they weren't the fastest friends and still playing on the same tour together. So
yeah, I did listen to your pre-Augusta podcast, or was it post? I can't remember. But anyway, you talked about that. Yeah, I think it was post, because you talked about the kinship, and then when we were on talking about the Moonlight Mayhem, we talked about that again. I think we had been a drink or two in, so. I can't remember everything we said, but I thought then we said that the experience at Augusta would kind of lead into the majors, and maybe we'll see what the Ryder Cup decision is, but getting all the guys back together again, and it's great to see, and I think it adds excitement to the PGA.
Absolutely, which they could use a little excitement with losing all their color guys. I'll say they definitely lost those this year. Hey, I want to talk about the PGA Championship. I'm good on this past weekend. If you guys are ready to get into it,
I am.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Oak Hill Country Club, no stranger to the PGA Championship. I think this will be the fourth one they've held there. It is an original Donald Ross design. It was recently redone in 2019 by Andrew Green. And we had our pal from Rock Elite Barrel Pickers was on. I don't know. We were on Instagram one day last week, and he lives in Rochester, so he'll be attending the tournament. So got some boots on the ground there, and kind of talking through what are we going to see at the golf course, and what are the challenges going to be here. So, if you've and plenty of places to go and get all the information you want about Oak Hill. I think the few things that kind of stand out is, so with the renovation in 2019, removed the perfect number of trees. Now, I don't know how many of the perfect number of trees. I don't know if that number actually is, but he wouldn't make the statement. So I think that's a hell of a lot of trees that he took down if he didn't want to state the number. But I think this is really going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a wing foot, right? A bomb and gouge kind of place. But what I do think is, from a course comp standpoint, it is going to look a lot like Wingfoot. It's going to look a lot like Bethpage Black. It's going to look a lot like the Country Club, maybe some Riviera with elevation changes. And I think that distance off the tee is what's going to kind of lead us to who our winner is going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if we've got a single-digit winner coming out of this week, meaning not breaking double digits under par. I think it's going to play tough. It's going to, weather-wise, potentially, allegedly, we're going to be down in the 40s in the morning, probably getting up in the high 60s in the afternoon. But we may have some weather coming in, I think Friday and Saturday. Thursday looks good. So Friday and Saturday looks like there may be some. So, conditions are going to be a challenge. They won't be a challenge for Tiger Woods, though. I'm sure he's looking at the weather saying, well, at least I don't have to go fight that battle.
For sure. Yeah, it's going to be a fun week. It's going to be it's a great course set up for it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the second major, with LIV kind of picking up some steam last couple of weeks. I think it's going to even be kind of that baton back from the Masters to this and saying, okay, well, let's see how they do in this one here. I'm stoked. So I think we're going to be shocked to see who our picks are this week, Cal.
You can go ahead and just set me up with a full LIV lineup. I think it'd be hard pressed not to go there. So let's head over to our friends at fantasynational.com. And
we do need some props real quick, Cal. We got to give a little bit of props last week. So in our pool, we did have a winner last week. Who picked? Somebody picked Jason Day last week in our pool. I think it was Joe. Joe picked.
I didn't look yet. Okay. So did he take over? Is he did he leapfrog me on this one?
No, right? He leapfrogged me. You're still leading. You're still leading, but he went from, I don't know where he went from, but yeah, he picked him last week. So
that's why Dan knows, because he got leapfrogged, so he was well aware of it.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So exactly. So the Chasing Daylight boys, we got a winner coming out of their camp. So I think the first win they've had this season. Not the first win that we have. Well, we didn't have a winner this past weekend, but we have won previously. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if those guys are going to be up for LIV golfers or not. And I think if you're not picking a LIV golfer, you may not be picking the winner here. So.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So as you're getting over to the Fantasy National, you mentioned some of the core stuff. I to prepare for you guys, I always feel like I need to do a little homework, and I looked at a couple YouTubes on the design. There's a really interesting one, if anyone wants to see it before the tournament, that shows aerial photos of over the years, and the trees you mentioned are really cool, because when they first opened it up, it's actually on the second property. They opened it at 9 holes first, and they came here in the 20s. There wasn't a lot of trees, and then one of the members, and I forgive me, but I forgot his name, was a amateur horticulturalist or whatever. I can't remember.
Easy for you to say.
He was getting acorns shipped from all over the world and planting them on the course. And then there's some aerials where they grew and it was perfect. But, then as years go on, these things got so big, and then the aerials show you can only see like half of the fairways, and corners were unable to be, you know, hit without being totally blocked off. And now they haven't shown the aerial from now, and I heard the same thing. They removed the perfect number of trees,
Right.
but it really is cool to see the evolution. And the trees just got out of hand, where the course almost became the fairways got so narrow that it almost became unplayable for these guys to challenge them at the length and then have them hit, you know, ribbons with their tee shots. So the tree story is an interesting story.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last time, was it 2013? Yeah, 2013, Jason Duffner won at Oak Hill, won the PGA Championship. And we're definitely going to see a different course from what they saw in 2013. So I think, look, you know, considering course history, I don't really know that there's going to be that it's really going to make a difference from a course history perspective with all the changes that have been made. I think that they've lengthened to 200 yards. So we're talking 7,400 yards, give or take. We've got a par 70, bent grass greens. I guess bent grass tee to green. And then obviously I would say that I think the PGA has kind of upped their game over the past several years. And it, you know, I would have considered the PGA Championship to be one of the easier golf tournaments, one of the easier majors to win. I think that they've kind of taken a U.S. Open approach over the past several years, and I think they're definitely tightening the golf course up. So, you know, without some rain, or I guess if it does rain, you know, that's probably going to be a bit of a challenge for them to, you know, how do they keep things fast? But yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see the rough grown up. I think, you know, some of the folks that we'll talk about, I mean, I think there's a lot of players here that have a good chance to win.
Yep.
Al
So
says he plans the perfect number of cocktails for a show. He never gets it right.
I'm still working on it. Not a quitter over here. Okay, so let's jump into the field. Let's look at the elite priced golfers. And Steve, we're looking at prices. We can go to odds if we want to, but we're looking at $10,000 and better. Okay. No surprises for me here on Fantasy National at Jon Rahm being $11,400 is the most expensive golfer in the field. Are there any names in the $10,000 field that you think that's a surprise? And are you betting anybody out of the $10,000 and higher?
I mean,
I'm going to wait till I see your screen here because I couldn't get to the screen you're looking at. I'm trying to, but let's see.
I'm surprised there's a live golfer in this range. You got Brooksy there. Really? I mean,
wow. It's got to be coming from the results at the Masters, right? I mean, there's nothing else that's going to lead you down that path. So yeah, I'm a little surprised to see him there. I mean, like considering you got Xander Schauffele, you got Patrick Cantlay, Tony Finau. I mean, quite a few golfers that didn't make this elite tiered pricing. So are you going with anybody from the $10,000 and higher range?
I'm surprised to see Brooksy here because he's a live guy. You know, out of this range, I think he's probably the only guy that didn't get an interview this week for the tournament. It's true. I mean, how can you go wrong with Scheffler? You know, been on fire. Rahm and Scheffler. I mean, those are the two front runners. But I think you and I are both going to be fighting over Brooks for one and done this week. But
that could very well be. I don't know, Steve. Do you like you like anybody there?
Those red marks on putting on Rory and Colin scare me because on that same special I watched, there was a lot about the greens, and they've redone the greens since 2013 tremendously. So there's all these little nooks and crannies now. So the Rahm and Scheffler are the only two that I would pick up out of this group.
See, I think I'm steering clear other than so Colin, I think probably is going to get a look from me from just an ownership perspective. I think what's his ownership, Dan?
7.3.
Yeah. I mean, if he's going to stay at single digit ownership, I mean, I think I got to sprinkle some Colin in there and it gets Brooks Koepka in. I mean, if short of Patrick Cantlay slow playing his ass on Sunday, I mean, I think we got some Koepka action. I think this course is going to set up and play a lot like Augusta. I think it's going to be, I mean, the greens are going to be fast. The greens are small, considerably small, given the length of the golf course. And I think it's going to be hard for them to hit the green. So if short of some weather, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. And I'm with you on the putting, Steve. And it's, I think around the green, I mean, that's where Colin probably scares me the most. But I mean, if he's ranked fourth in this field on approach, I'd probably gonna go there just to be contrarian. So,
yeah, I think that's the counterpoint, is that approach, because not only are the greens small, but they created small subsets inside of them, right? So there's little teeny green areas within the smaller greens. So, it's the approach shot statistic is important. I thought I saw something different on him. I didn't see him at 4 on the thing I was looking at earlier, but yeah, Brooks statistics there pale in comparison to the rest of the 4 there, don't they?
Absolutely.
But I guess maybe they don't count the statistics on LIV. Is that the problem?
No.
Yeah, they're not pulling through a strokes gain number on this one. So yeah, so there's
okay,
so
that makes sense then.
Yeah. So okay, $9,000. So let me say, I think there's a lot of people in the $9,000 range that could win this golf tournament. Who do you think doesn't have a chance to win the golf tournament in the $9,000 range?
Or not the winner? We're going to play that now?
Not the winner. We're playing that game. I mean, the obvious one for me is Jordan Spieth, right? And I would have said prior to him announcing or releasing that he had a wrist injury and he didn't know how long he was going to be out, I think Jordan Spieth would have absolutely been a play for me, just coming off a recent form. But now with the wrist injury, I think that's an absolute fade. I think I can't get anywhere near Jordan Spieth. And I haven't seen anything released that he is not planning to attempt to play, right? I mean, that's the latest news.
I haven't seen anything. I think he's still there.
Yeah, so do I.
I would go there with Spieth with you. Other than that, I mean, everybody plays pretty well, right? I'm surprised that Jason Day's not $9,000, but was the pricing out before last week? It might have been.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was out before last week.
The one that scares me a little bit is Hovland's around the green statistic there. I know the faces of the bunkers and the rough around the bunkers is so dramatic. That's a little scary statistic. That 140th on the around the greens.
What's his PGA Hovland? T41, T30, and T33. Were there any comps on there? Southern Hills, Kiowa, maybe. I mean, I could see Kiowa from a distance, and then the treble around the greens. I mean, that's probably a pretty good comp for Oak Hills. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. I mean, ball striking the hell out of it, right? I mean,
everything else looks great.
Right, looks really good. So, I'm going to be a LIV homeboy, man. I'm going straight to Cam Smith. And
you said who is it going to win, not who's going to win.
Oh, sorry. Oh, never mind. Who else?
Dan, he's changing the rules on us.
You have to remind them. You have to keep them on task. That's why we're here.
That's why we're drinking. So Xander Schauffele, I don't know if he's got it in him great golfer, doesn't necessarily have a great track record for PGA championships. So I think that he's probably a fade for me, at least in this field. And I think Cantlay too. I mean, I think I think Xander and Cantlay are my 2, and Spieth. So the top 3 in the $9,000 range. I mean, those are fades for me. Now, who do you like?
I think Sungjae's looking really good there.
Okay, so Sungjae just went to Korea. Was it Sungjae or Hideki? I think it was Sungjae.
Why would Hideki go to Korea?
That's a good point. Yeah, he was in a wedding, and so I don't know if there's I numbers wise, I say yes. I think that I mean, the distance isn't necessarily there. The ball striking absolutely is, and he's going to find fairways. So I think I'm with you, Steve. I think Sungjae is probably he's probably a pretty good play here. I can get on board with that.
T8 at Wells, T7 at RBC, T6 Players, 16th Masters. He's had a great year. Silently.
In elevated events, right? I mean, and not necessarily short courses. So I mean, he's playing well. Yes,
almost 15%.
And he doesn't really seem to have a weak link on the statistical side of it. It's all solid to great.
Yeah.
Everyone else has one problem or so, but he's looking good.
All right, Steve. So if one of these players in the $9,000 range was a Filmland Spirits bottle behind you, which one would it?
Let's see here. Well, definitely with his distance, Cam Young with this cask strength bourbon, which has all the power you can ever want.
Love it. I love it.
I do love that. That's a good one. I like that. So speaking of Cam Smith, maybe my one and done this week. I don't know yet, but I'm leaning heavily towards Cam Smith. I think I said earlier, he finished, lost in a playoff to DJ this week in Tulsa, on the LIV Tour. I mean, the course says he should be able to go at it. I mean, he's definitely going to spray it off the tee box, but everything else outside of that, I mean, I think Cam Smith looks pretty good, and the course just kind of says this is a Cam Smith track. I think that he's a play. He's the only Cam that I'm taking in the $9,000 range. I can say that.
Yeah. Even though I compared Cam Young to my whiskey, I agree with you that of the two Cams, he's got the better chance.
Yeah. So the only thing that scares me about Cam, I shouldn't say scares, but I mean, this is a home. It's a home game for Cam Young, and I'm sure he's getting a barrage of, hey, get me, where's my tickets at? And all of his friends are coming around. So I think that's, I don't know if that's an advantage for him necessarily or not, that he's heading back to his home state.
So, do you think, and we saw this at the Masters, where it was the first time we've seen the LIV play with the PGA Tour, and it was, can they play? Can they compete? Is it just their own tour joke and everything else, right? And then we saw some contenders. We got like 3 of the top 5 were in from the LIV, right?
I mean,
is there a stigma still regarding that? And is there an advantage to play LIV over non-LIV? So are people not going to play LIV because of what it is and the room?
100%.
So you think there's on outright and in DraftKings, you think there's an advantage?
100%.
I think they're like tobacco stocks.
Exactly. I think there's an advantage, and I think that people are not going to play them. That's what I think. And I mean, it shows. I mean, DJ at 11%. Where's Cam Smith? Cam Smith at 8%. Give me a under 10% own Cam Smith all day long. Absolutely. Right. I mean, defending Open champion. Cam Smith. I think I'm talking myself into him, by the way. I absolutely think that's I think that's a play. So we didn't talk about Tony Finau. And so he just won the Mexico Open, and kind of where Tony's been playing good at, I think he's been playing good golf, but I don't know that he's winning. Well, I can tell you, he is not winning in elite elevated fields. Not currently, not in recent form. He did win the Mexico Open, T26 at the Masters, T19 at the Players.
Beat Rahm, right? So
he did. He beat an elite player. I wouldn't say that he beat an elite field.
Arguably, the elite player doesn't want to go back there next year. Maybe that's why he won. But
that also could be a true story. I don't know. Yeah.
I'm fading. I'm not fading. I'm not playing Tony. Well, I don't have the confidence in him.
Yeah, nor do I. All right, $8,000.
What about Patty Ice?
Yeah, I've told you I'm out on Xander and Cantlay, the slow playing duo there. I mean, if he slow plays Koepka like that again, I mean, he's probably going to whip. They're going to be fighting it on course.
So we haven't talked about JT at all.
We did not. So defending.
I mean, he's looking pretty good in all the important categories. So I know we talked about the fairways, hitting it far, but I think the side of the fairway you're on is also pretty important on this one, because they have the ability to tuck pins around some traps, and if you get short, you're on the wrong side and you have to hit over these traps. Getting it to that little subsection is going to be tough, and his putting is his only, and not even weak. It's just
it's subpar compared to the rest of his game.
Yeah, so but everything else there in the 20s.
So I was listening to his presser, and he was talking about he's having challenges reading short putts. Doesn't know what it is. I mean, I'm having challenges reading all putts, so it's not just the short ones. But and in looking at that and kind of where they're going to wind up at, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think JT is probably a play here. I think it's an ownership play. One is, if ownership remains low, then I don't know why JT wouldn't play well here. I mean, two-time PGA champion winner, so a PGA Championship winner. So it's and defending champion. I could see him. I could see him pulling it together for sure. You know what? I didn't make mention of. I'm going to backtrack for a little bit, because I don't know if we talked enough about Rory. We probably did, but Rory McIlroy. This was his kind of home away from home during COVID. And I think that I wouldn't say that we've had some, he's had some challenges, I guess. I mean, he coined, he needed a little break, needed a mental health break over some time. I've never been professional at anything, so I can only imagine the stresses that it puts on the mind and the mindset. But I don't know. I don't know what that does for him. I don't know anybody else that was camping out up here with him during the COVID break. But I just want to have that written down as a note, and I forgot to bring it up. So
that's interesting. I never asked Rory if you talked enough about Rory. That's for sure.
Correct, because you probably do not, at least to his likings. All right, $8,000. We going back to back?
Man, he's been playing good golf, man. I'm not counting him out. 12.8% projected ownership at that price tag. It's compelling to me. We like Green.
What did he do last week? Where did he gain his strokes at?
What was impressive to me was down the stretch.
Yeah.
The drives he hit were on a perfect line. Just exactly where he wanted to walk out and place them.
That's right.
That was, and that's what I was saying a little earlier about some of the bombers, is they're going to hit it far, but I don't know if they're going to place it in the right. He was putting his drives exactly where he wanted to and needed to close that thing out. It was impressive. I mean, he's looking good.
Yeah, I mean, he gained almost 11 strokes tee to green. He gained over 3.5 off the tee, 6.5 on approach, almost 3 in putting. There's really nothing that he was doing bad. And
the only thing keeping us off of him is back to
vertigo,
back, right? But it's back to back. Like the odds are weird to think someone's going to win 2 weeks in a row. It's happened, but it's just it's the one thing that gives you pause is, can he go back to back?
It for sure does. But oddly enough, I mean, he's got a decent track record. What he was runner up to Jimmy Walker in 2016. I thought he was runner up again. I was probably looking at Duffner. But yes, it's the odds in what's the chance that he's going to go back to back, and that's probably the scary spot. So
it's the crazy, you can't win the par 3 contest and win the Masters thing. There's no logic to it whatsoever, right? But
also a true story. Also a true story thus far. So I don't know. I think he's a play, especially from a DraftKings perspective. I don't know that he's a bet for me, but I mean, top 10, I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever to see him show up and do that.
Do you think his percent ownership is up because of last week? A little inflated?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
But I think it's because he's got the attention. But if you watched him play all year, he's been playing phenomenal golf. So.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Yeah. Well, so hold on. But think about this. Think about the baseline that we're measuring Jason Day on, right? And so I'll kind of put, even though we're not to him yet, I'll put Jason Day and Ricky Fowler in the same category. We had really good golfers and winners. And then up until the past, probably 4 years, 5 years, and their game has kind of tailed off, right? I mean, it's so I think that the baseline that we're looking at, I mean, you can't argue with a win's a win, right? You can't argue with that. But I do think that we've consistently seen good golf out of Jason Day. So you win at the Nelson, missed the cut at the Wells Fargo, which I don't know. I mean, that there's probably some Quail Hollow bleed over into Oak Hills. T39 at the Masters, T19 at the Players, and T10 at the API. I think that this is probably the strongest. Well, let me ask, would you agree that this is the strongest field we've seen at a golf tournament this year?
Probably.
Yes.
I think so.
It's the Players or this, right?
No, it's this because of the live element instead.
Oh yeah, because live. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I think this is the most competitive field that we've had. To coin a Koepka phrase, 50% of the people, no chance they can beat me. I'm not even worried about them, right? I mean, and that was his take on the Masters. But I mean, I think there's a lot of unknowns that are coming out of this thing, and the one guy being ranks 29th in the model. I mean, again, the numbers are probably a little bit skewed. Did not have a great day or a great week in Augusta, finishing at T48 as a previous winner. Steve, this gets right back to what's the chance we're going to have back-to-back wins? And I don't know. I mean, I just think this thing is a DJ. I think it's a DJ track.
Yeah, you bring up a good point though. I hadn't thought about this being the most competitive. I was with Steve. I was like, Players, generally it's Players is the most competitive field. It's the longest and everything else. But because of live and the Masters being kind of a light major in terms of the field, this is the most competitive field out. Wow.
Yeah. And Dustin should be a 2-time PGA Championship winner, right? Did he grant this club in the PGA Championship or was
it was at Whistling Straits in the PGA.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, he was second to Koepka at Bethpage in 2019. He was second to Colin Morikawa at TPC Harding Park. Maybe there's some similarities here that you could. I mean, if you're really drawing at your strings, I mean, you could probably get there. I mean, he tends to play pretty good, and these kind of setups. I think DJ is. I think he's a play all day man.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. So the hard part with DJ is if his putting and approach shots. Or what's ARG around the green? If it's putting and around, I'm sorry, Bill, helicopter phone. Sorry about that. If that around the green statistic and putting statistic are true of what he's been doing on live, then this is scary. But if it's a small sample set, then because he's normally pretty good putting, the around the green is probably truly the tougher part. But the putting, that looks a little tough, but I think those two, if they're true, are scary. If they're not, if they're just because of the live versus PGA statistics in this software, I mean, those guys who hit the tight fade to me are always dangerous on these types of courses. They can control it way more than the guys who hit a bigger fade or the drawers of the ball. They can control it so much better. So I love the tight fade guys always on a major course. So that's where
Dan has never used the term tight fade. He doesn't even know he didn't know what that is. And I love this. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's in control. And yeah, the number is, I'm going to say skewed because what we're measuring for DJ, it's only major championships. And I mean, that I'm going to be the most difficult golf courses or golf tournaments that they're going to be playing. So, I'm with you. I think that there's something to be said there. And this is doesn't have anything to do with LIV. This is just in general, right? I mean, it's like it's the cocaine and hookers theory of how interested is DJ in golf versus the extracurriculars that come along with the golf. So I don't know. I think everything looks good. I like to see him coming off of a win. Maybe it's, hey, I do care, and I care because I want to go win the golf tournament. So
yeah, I think that's the fun. That's the positive side of the back-to-back is, their attention span is there, right?
That's right.
They use when Phil won the Open Championship, he won the Scottish the week before. That was one of the cool things is they are laser focused on preparing for this tournament, right? So that's the other side of the, superstition part of it. This is the flip side is no. These guys they're locked in. They're used last week as a preparation for this week, and that means their swing and everything is going the right way.
Yeah, I mean it's like a marathon, right? I mean it's like you need to peak at the right time, and then I mean obviously you're going to decel, right? I mean you can't continue to go full board, on this thing. So yeah, I think I'm a DJ guy. If you can't tell, I think it's. I think it's good. Now here it does snow in New York in May.
Are you done? Are you done, Cal?
I'm done.
So how dare you call out me for not talking about a tight fade? Because that's my secret weapon on the course, and I don't like to talk about it publicly. You know it.
I thought that was your haircut, Dan. You always wear a hat. Like, I thought you had a tight fade. There you go, brother.
I don't even know if the bot plays golf, by the way. Just saying. Okay, so
one second. Hey, Steve. While we talked about most of the top LIV guys now. If you were going to pick one outright this week, who would you pick?
Probably Cam Smith.
Ooh, I like the way this man's thinking. Okay, so in the $8,000 range,
and it's because of the putting. It's his short game in putting, just amazing. What I saw at the Open was unbelievable.
Yep, agreed.
Give me okay, Max Homa, yes or no?
I like him in LA. I don't like him here. But I mean, I'm not counting him out, but he's not a play for me.
I'm out.
I think he's going to finish in the top 20, but I don't think he's going to win.
Ooh, well, let's have to look and see what the number is on Homa for a top 20.
I think I'm with Dan is that he's building his crescendo to the U.S. Open.
Yeah, I do too. I think the LA Country Club is the place to play Homa. And he has not looked. Let's just say we've seen two Max Homas over the past 5 or 6 months, right? So T8 at Wells Fargo, cut at Heritage, which I don't know if I give much credence to that. But we got to talk about that elevated event stuff at the end of this thing. So I want to know how you, as a golf fan, think about how the PGA Tour is scheduling things and what's going on. So food for thought as we kind of move through this thing.
I can think of two things at the same time. It's okay.
Multitasking, he says. So Terrell Hatton. I mean, he ranks out 6th in the model, 15% ownership. So it's kind of, but to your point, where you were heading earlier is, where's he kind of moving towards? And, T5 last week, T3 at Wells Fargo, T19 at Heritage, T34 at the Masters. I don't think Hatton has that good of a track record at the Masters anyway. So I don't think that's a crazy number for him, but I think Hatton is a must play for sure. And just above him, I think Hideki is not. I don't know why people are off Hideki
either, but
they're off Hideki, and I don't know why.
Last week, he was good last week, didn't he? Wasn't he leading or top 3 and going into like the final round or something?
Yeah, T23.
No,
you may be thinking about
this, but he played well early. Yeah, he looked good.
He did play. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what's why we're against why people aren't on Hideki more. I mean, the length is there. I guess you've got the random neck flare up that's occurs from whenever he wants it to, but I think Hideki's a play for sure. Then there's this guy. Okay. So let's look at 84 to all right. I'm out on Tom Kim. So I'm gonna start at $8,000 at Tommy Fleetwood. And then working our way up through, you could really go through the $8,000 range. And I'm outside of Homa. I don't know that I'm scared of anybody, but I mean, Fleetwood has been playing good. Now so back to kind of our superstition, Steve, what's the chance that Tommy Fleetwood's first win on U.S. soil is a major championship?
I think it's funny, as I prepared for this, I had one dark horse, and it was Tommy Fleetwood. How do
you call him a dark horse? I don't know how he's a dark horse.
Well, because of what you just said, he hasn't won on you.
Right.
It's exactly what you just said. Is he's a dark horse, right? You would think he would. He's got everything to have won on U.S. soil before. He's almost like the skinny Jesus-looking version of Colin Montgomery, right? I mean, he should have won. He should have won a tournament on U.S. soil by now, and it's something there. But man, he looks good. He just looks good in every facet for this golf course.
But when I think about Tommy Fleetwood and him not winning, and then I think about Xander, who like almost kind of seems like he doesn't want to win. It's just like there's something that's not there. Like, I think that, I mean, if you had to say who's going to win more, is it going to be Tommy Fleetwood or Xander Schauffele? I would go Tommy Fleetwood all day long. I mean, there's something that Tommy does that I think gets us there. T5 at Wells Fargo, T15 at RBC Heritage, 33rd at the Masters, which he usually plays pretty good at the Masters, T3 at Valspar. Fleetwood he's on to something. There's a lot of people coming into this tournament that are top tier golfers that have win equity, and they're peaking at the right time. I mean, this is going to be hot this week, man.
Yeah. And he has like he was this close to having the all-time record at the U.S. Open for a round of golf. I mean, he plays tough course as well. So I say dark horse because I was looking at, the top 2025, and he was outside of that. So that's what I was jumping. I mean, obviously dark horse is really, someone down in the 80s or 90s in terms of ranking. But in terms of that first echelon, he was outside of that in what I was looking at. And
I'll allow it.
Yeah. So dark horse probably wasn't the right term, but outside the, he's got everything going in his direction right now and the course, the way I looked at it, to me seems more like a U.S. Open course, and he's played very well at those kind of venues with his ability to shape the ball or get his either his drive or his layup shot or whatever it may be into the right spot in the fairway to get to the pins properly, easily, versus having those things at the wrong side of the fairway. I just think it looks good for him.
I absolutely agree. By the way, he was T48 at Bethpage in 2019 and T35 in Bellerive in Missouri, and he was T5 last year in Oklahoma. So, I think Tommy Fleetwood is. I think he's a go for me for sure. Who else in the $8,000 range? Anybody else that's kind of sticking out that you got to gravitate towards? I know. I didn't want to go there, but go ahead.
Hey, T35 at Wells, won the Heritage, putting 31st around the green, 28 on approach, 103, little soft there off the tee, 34th. Model rank 47th and 13% protected ownership. A little high here, $8,400. But I mean, the way he's been playing, I mean, Masters at the 10th, yeah. What do you think?
What are you, US Open champion, right? Last year,
yeah. US Open at So I just the approach shot statistics scared me on here. That was it. It just seems to be needed to be precise. But everything else, he's strong.
So, I mean, the narrative is right. Shane Lowry, if the wind and rain do come in, I mean, it is going to be chilly in the mornings. I mean, it's the days they look like they're going to be okay, but I mean, there's probably going to be some weather. So, does the Irishman does he fare well in challenging conditions? I mean, the answer to that is yes, but I don't know that that's really. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get on Shane. I think Sam Burns is interesting from probably an ownership perspective in that, again, it's 6.7 ownership. I guess I could say the same thing about Lowry, but I mean, Sam Burns has at least played pretty good. I mean, 6 at the Valspar, T29 at the Masters, T15 at Augusta, at RBC Heritage. So maybe, is there a Thigala play here at 6% ownership?
I don't know.
Yeah. I haven't seen him handle that Sunday back nine pressure yet, and it'd be shocking if he could do it here. A few people have done it at PGA tournaments. A few people in this field have done it at PGA tournaments who surprised us, but I think that's back when they didn't set them up like U.S. Open courses. Since
Correct.
They've been setting up harder. I haven't, and it gets back to your first win, right? With Tommy Fleetwood, we talked about the first win being the PGA. I haven't, facing that last nine pressure on a course this hard, he hasn't proven that yet. So,
Absolutely.
Not there.
Okay.
$7,000. Let's pick a few folk. Well, this is horrible.
Oh, Neiman.
I mean, where you heading?
Neiman. Yeah,
Yeah.
Just the putting, but
No, I'm in on a lot of people in the $7,000 range. I mean, Neiman, Adam Scott's been playing really good. Keegan Bradley, Northeast guy, Donald Ross, champion. Like Keegan kind of says, I can get there on Keegan. I can probably.
Look at Ricky.
I know. Bucky Fowler.
Yeah. Oh,
hey man. Is he going to be popular this week?
I think we got a playoff of Tommy Fleetwood and Ricky Fowler on Sunday.
Oh. Listen, the PGA Tour is begging. They're begging for that. I mean, do you know what that would do for the PGA Tour? I mean, that would just it would do the exact opposite of what a LIV winner would do to the PGA Tour. Or how about this? Give me Taylor Gooch and Ricky Fowler in a playoff.
Yeah.
I mean, that you want to talk about heating it up. So here's the thing. So Bucky he's kind of popular at 16% ownership. I still think he's probably a play. We've got T31 or better. Everything else has been T15 or better since the Players. I said it earlier. I mean, this is Bucky and J-Day. I mean, those are the two guys that they're turning something around. I don't know if it's because that they've lightened the load on the PGA Tour. They've found their swing. They've got Vertigo is settled and figured out. But I think yes. I think Ricky's a play, and I would not be surprised to see Ricky walk away with a Wanamaker trophy.
That'd be so cool.
And it would be good for the tour. So I'm with you. I like Neiman. I like, I mentioned Adam Scott already. He's another one that's kind of peaking. I mean, he's in his early 40s now. But I mean, everything's kind of working. Seems like it's a Scott golf course. I like Keegan. I like Ricky. Taylor Gooch.
Is Mito in the 7,000 range?
He is not. I think he's in 6.
Is he in the 6? So
yeah.
I couldn't remember.
We'll get there though, because
I know you got.
I'm on your side. I think Mito's probably a play too.
I couldn't remember where he was at.
So here's a guy that I think is not getting any love, like no fucking love at all, man. Is Dub C. Wyndham Clark, just coming off of a win at Wells Fargo. What? I don't know.
I don't know if you could read this. Wyndham Clark.
Ooh, they see. I
Put the
like
pen
it, man.
down, Steve. Put the
I
pen
like it.
down.
I like it.
Yeah, it's the ink is dry. I can.
So
I like
hold on.
that.
So
Yeah.
do we stay on Wyndham Clark? So you've got a win at Wells Fargo, T24 at the Mexico Open, T29 at RBC. Again, Punta Cana 6, I don't know, whatever, 5th at the Valspar. So a couple though. I mean, the Wells Fargo is probably the most competitive field that he was in.
Yeah.
But he's got things together, man. I mean, he's putting good. He's long. He's off the tee.
Yeah.
I think that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like Wyndham Clark for sure.
I do too. But one other guy we skipped over, Cal. What about Justin Rose?
I think that everything looks good.
He's already won this year.
They're-
T25 the Heritage, T16 the Masters, T6 the Players. I mean, those are big events right there.
I could spend. I could stay in the $7,000 range, and I wouldn't be surprised that the winner comes out of there.
Yeah.
No, without any issues. So like Abe Answer, I think is a fade for me probably this week. Denny McCarthy's interesting, and he's been playing good, he's putting good. T8 at Wells Fargo, T26, T19, and T13 at the Players. So just from an ownership perspective, I might get down to Denny McCarthy where I won't get to. Bryson DeChambeau. Any interest? Any interest?
No,
I think when he changes his body that much, it takes a little while for the swing to catch up. Yeah.
So you've seen pictures of him though, right, Steve?
Yeah, it's
recently or videos.
It's mind-boggling.
Doesn't even look like the same person.
Well, and it's now been both directions. Like he got big faster than I've ever seen him get big, and he's gotten small faster than I've ever seen anyone get small. And this isn't a criticism in any way. I don't know how he. Sure. It's almost more. Tell me your secret, brother. than anything else, but yeah, I think when your body changes, I have faith in him. I think it takes a while for the swing to adapt to that body difference and be comfortable.
Yeah, I could see. So this is kind of here's the I don't think, nobody's playing Bryson, and it's not because they don't have any, they're challenging the fact of is he or can he win? They're not playing because nobody likes the guy. And when I'm outside of us, I'm not saying that we don't like the guy. I'm just saying, generally speaking, the public, the golf audience does not like Bryson DeChambeau. And I think I'm going to steer clear. Other than that, 3% looks really good, but it wouldn't surprise me for him to have he's never, what did he say? Augusta's like a par 68, but I don't know if he's ever shot under 69. So
it wouldn't surprise you what? Finish your sentence, because I want to disagree with you. It wouldn't surprise you.
Missed a cut. I think he missed a cut this week.
Then I totally agree with you. Okay.
Yeah. I think we could. Yeah. Where'd you think I was going?
I thought you were going to say if he finished in the top 20 or something.
No.
Okay.
I would be more surprised if he finished in the top 20 than if he missed the cut this week.
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, that guy's got challenges. So don't we all? But don't we?
A minute ago, but it's Denny McCarthy having one of the sneakiest good years on tour.
I know, man. So I'm saying, I think Denny's a solid play.
T13 at the Players. I mean, this is solid. I watched him at Wells quite a bit too, and he looked good out there, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's around the greens. He's good. Putting, he's good. I mean, off the tee. I mean, he's not gonna be the longest guy no matter what happens. But I mean, if you hit fairways and you could hit greens, then I mean, you're kind of there. So yeah, I mean, I think Denny's probably a sneaky play for us. Yeah. Emiliano Grillo, I think that's another probably play for me. He ranks out 24th in the model, but T23 at Wells Fargo, T5 at Mexico Open, T7 at Heritage. And so, I mean, it wouldn't be fair really to say that that RBC Heritage is the course itself is a course comp. And just, I mean, they're vastly different golf courses. But I do think the placement that's required at RBC Heritage is a good comp compared to, so Steve, as you were mentioning, like with some of the trees and where you can place the ball for your, for your next shot. I think that's going to be, key. And I mean, Amelia.
Yeah, the front nine there for sure, right? So it's RBC is like two different courses almost, right? The front nine is a good comp, and maybe a couple more holes on the back, but yeah, I see you.
Who else in the $7,000 range? Anybody else that kind of sticks out? Ain't no Billy Horschel. Ain't no fucking way. Get out of here.
I'm surprised that Paul Casey's.
Billy Horschel's never done anything to me, by the way, Steve. I just can't. I can't stand to watch that guy play golf.
That when I listened to your master show, that came out loud and clear.
He's so annoying. I mean, me watching Billy Horschel play golf on TV is probably like watching me play golf, like actually on the golf course. It's horrible. Nobody wants to watch that shit.
Cal thinks about Billy Horschel like Trevino thinks about the Masters.
Let's see. Where were you heading, Dan?
Can you believe that Paul Casey's $7,300? That's kind of expensive for Paul Casey, don't you agree?
So he got in late, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he get was it Paul Casey and Taylor Gooch that got in like over, I don't know, they changed flipped the rule around on him? I think that's the case. So yeah, I don't know how healthy Paul Casey is. I'm not saying he's not healthy. I don't know that he's been doing anything. Let's see what's Paul been doing on the LIV Tour. Has he even been playing on the LIV Tour? Yeah, he has not been doing much. Fourth place finish, which I mean, would you say that the LIV Tour week to week, or let me rephrase that, because they don't play every week, tournament to tournament. Do you think the LIV Tour has a better stable of golfers than the PGA Tour?
Steve, you go first.
Stable.
He'll throw you under the bus. He'll throw you under the bus.
Stable, no.
No, you think PGA Tour is they're just hands down better?
Because if you took the top 10 in the LIV, there's 10 who equal that in the PGA, and then you drop below that, and then the PGA dominates it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Yeah. I don't know. I don't watch that much LIV golf just because I'm watching so much PGA stuff. I mean, I'm looking at some of the stats now, but yeah, it's kind of like, yeah. I
think like, the top, if they made an all-star team, and let's say with golf, it's
top five,
five,
yeah.
They'd compete. But then as you start going below that, it would be utter dominance.
Yeah. Okay.
Only other guy here, Cal, in $7,000 range would be Harris English. He's been playing some pretty dang good golf. He's terrible, but I get it. But
no, I mean, Harris was coming off of some injury earlier in the year, or late last year, right? But it finishes T3 at Wells Fargo, which is, I mean, that's and Harris is long, so I mean, his off the tee numbers don't look good necessarily. But again, I think this is going to be a place where you're not going to have any challenges with if you're not hitting fairways, as long as you're long enough to take advantage of the distance. I think that you're going to be fine, and which he is. So,
well, look at it.
I think that's
T3 at Wells and T2 at API. Those are big courses.
Yeah. I think the big difference between not hitting fairways is not hitting them in the rough or in these traps, because some of these traps, fairway traps, you can't even get at the green if you're in the front half of it. The faces are so tall that it's almost like an open where you got to go out or you hit a wedge or something. You can't get the ball high enough, quick enough. If you're off the fairway in the rough and you're strong and you're long, maybe, but if you're in those traps, oof.
Yep.
They're brutal.
Totally agree. All right. So, 7,200, 7,100, and 7,100 and 7,100. Minwoo Lee, Gary Woodland, Siwoo Kim, and Keith Mitchell. I mean, I kind of see all these guys in contention. I mean, if you're picking somebody, Siwoo looked really good last week. Siwoo plays. I mean, if I had to compare courses and if I were thinking about a Donald Ross course or I was thinking about a Pete Dye course, I mean, I'd say there's some similarities in there. I don't know. Maybe Steve, you'd disagree, but I think there's some similarities in, green size and there's probably a slope back to front kind of thing that kind of, is continuous to happen that happens. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I think around the green, I see some. It's off the tee and kind of the fairway. They're a little different, but once you get up there, I'm with you.
Yeah, I think Woodland's probably my play down here. I don't think Keith Mitchell is going to be extremely. Gary Woodland's going to be high ownership, so that may be a steer clear for me. I may just go straight to Keith Mitchell on this one, and it's. I mean, I don't know. Recent form, has it been great? No, but. I ain't betting Keith to win the golf tournament. I can tell you that. He's in a DraftKings lineup. Here's your guy, Mito. $7,000, Steve.
Yeah.
You're on the Mito train.
Well, yeah, I'm not necessarily to win, but I think he's going to play well there. I think he's got the last year was rough. I mean, he had that thing, right? So if anybody gets that fire to redeem themselves, which we all have, when something bad happens to us. I think he's been thinking about this tournament the whole 12 months since the last time. And he's playing pretty good. I think it's his putting is the only real weak link. But everything else looks pretty good.
I think so. Where was he? Was it Fitzpatrick won, right? Isn't that
No, Justin Thomas.
Oh, JT.
Yeah, was it last year? He had the lead.
Southern Hills.
Yeah, most of the tournament and most of the last round.
Speaking of, we will not see any Will Zalatoris here this week at the PGA Championship. Still recovering from back surgery, mind you.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else in the $7,000? Danny, you want to call anybody out, or you good?
Phil Mickelson.
He'd become the oldest major champion if he won this one, wouldn't he?
Hold on. He is the reigning current. I mean, it could be back-to-back oldest major. Well, it wouldn't be back-to-back, but you know where I'm going.
It's like every time Steph Curry makes a three, he sets a new record. So Phil would do that every time he wins a PGA from this point on.
Okay, so let's. I don't know what the numbers are. I don't care what the odds are. I don't care what the odds are. Phil Mickelson to make the cut and play the weekend.
Oh, he knows those numbers
in Rochester. Are you betting yes or no?
I think he makes the cut. Sure. Yeah.
I think he makes a cut based on his short game. I think short game is going to get him to the cut, but he's going to be like Tiger at the Masters, within a few shots either way. And if he makes it something really good, fell his way on Friday.
I'm with you. All right, $6,000 range. What do you guys go? Steve, go first. Who did you pick? Anybody out here that you're like, yeah, we got to go for one of these guys?
I did not. I kind of stopped my analysis a little. Mito was as far down as I went, so
all right.
I haven't. I kind of just I looked at it and went, no
reason to go there.
All right, to go there.
So I'll throw a couple out. I'll throw a couple of maybes if we need to go there. Ben Griffin around the green. He ranks out number 1 in this model. Off the tee, he's 82nd. He's 20th in putting. So that could be, if I need to. This could be Ben Griffin's first PGA Championship. I think it is. No KH Lee. I mean, that sucked the gas out of him last week. The Wu brothers, Brandon could be a play for me. Friend of the show, Scott Stallings. As much as I would like to, and I think he might be able to get around here. I don't know. I'm probably a fade on him.
Longest drive on tour last year, Cal.
Longest drive on tour, indeed. At in Scottsdale, Arizona. Interestingly enough, at $6,600. Harold Varner III.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could see this being a HV3 kind of track, man. I mean, it's just bust it off the tee and get up around the green, and you could have something there. So
Could see it. I think maybe Adam Svensson as well.
maybe I don't. Before I'm going there, so two people. So Jason Duffner, by the way, he was the most recent winner of the PGA Championship at Oak Hill, this is not going to be anything like the Oak Hill Jason Duffner played at, nor is this the Jason Duffner that won in 13, maybe.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm not going there. However, what about Jimmy Walker? I mean, Jimmy Walker has been on a little bit of a thing here, man.
How much is it?
He's $6,300. And I mean, is Jimmy Walker gonna win the golf tournament? No. But at $6,300, if Jimmy Walker gets me a top 20, I'm probably okay with that.
I like it. I like it.
Probably okay with that. It's going to be, the course is going to be long. Well, there are two par threes that are over 240 yards. The par fives are 490 plus. And I think there's going to be some challenges with people getting to the hole here. I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what the weather looks like and how things kind of pan out there. Steve, you are not in our one and done with us, but we are going to ask you to pick one this week. We'll pencil you in for something. So you don't have to do it first. We can let Dan go first, so you can think about it. But
Should we do a lineup real quick, Phil?
What?
Should we do a lineup?
Oh, we should do a lineup. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, did you download your DraftKings app, Steve?
I did.
Oh, look at this guy.
Yeah, I did. Let me pull it up.
Look at this guy. He's showing
Tell
up.
me what to
Showing
do, though. I don't know what to do.
Let's go to golf, and then you probably don't have any money in your account, so just play one of those free pools of the free lineups.
No, I'm not that smart. I try to lose as much money as possible. So
I'm just saying it's new to him. He
I
can,
know. Yeah.
He can bet it later. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So did you got DraftKings opened
I
on your
did.
phone?
I did. Yeah, I do.
All right. You got golf, and you've got the PGA Championship.
Can't find golf. Let's see. Golf. There it is.
All right.
PGA Championship.
Yep. And then as soon as you click it, it should open up and it says select golfer.
Yeah.
All right.
It shows Scottie Scheffler plus 700, Jon
Rahm.
Rahm plus it. Yeah.
So you're betting. He's not setting up a
No.
lineup. He's betting.
Mm-mm. Oh, he's betting. Yeah, that's betting. That's right.
He's betting. Yeah, he wants to bet. We're going to put a lineup in, and then you can establish how you want to operate after that.
So, Steve, if you go to golf, and then give me one second. Yeah, go to golf, and then PGA. Do you go to Classic? Do you have Classic there?
I had to log in. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm such a rookie.
No worries. No worries.
For all the listeners, I told these guys the only person I bet on typically is myself. So this was new to me.
No worries.
All right. So golf and classic. I don't see classic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he won't say it. He's in the sportsbook app, so
Okay.
which is fine. Yeah.
Oh.
All right. So hold on. So let's go. I think we go Cam Smith. I think Cam Smith is a play.
All right. Give me 1 second. All right. Cam Smith. All right. Smith. Okay.
Steve, you said Fleetwood. You like Fleetwood for a top 10, maybe a win, right?
Yep.
Got it.
I'm gonna have a hard time getting here, but I like where we're heading. You like Neiman for a top 10, maybe a top 5, right?
I wouldn't go 5.
But Joaquin Neiman for a top 10, you like?
Yeah.
It? All right. All right. So, Dan, where do you want to go? You want to go like the three people under him? Who do you want?
Well, he liked Dubs too. He wrote it down.
Oh, Wyndham Clark. All right, we got it. We go Dubs. All right, Clark's in. We're at 86.50 right now. I don't. I mean, what do you feel about Hatton? I think Hatton's a play.
Yeah, let's go ahead. He's been playing great. Okay. Who we picking now?
Yep. Yep. The only one. The one at the top. One at the top.
DJ. All right. Dustin Johnson to close it out. All right. Which leads me to my one and done. I will take DJ. I'll lock it in because I know you want Cam, so I'll let you have Cam.
I do. Yeah. Give me Cam Smith. Steve, where are you heading?
JT.
Ooh, back to back, huh? You're getting a little risque, are you?
Yeah.
All right. I don't think it's a bad play. I mean, I think he definitely makes the weekend, and I think I don't know. Is he going to win? I don't know, but maybe it's very possible. Did you have any other interesting bets that you might have researched, Steve, that we didn't get to?
No, I did not. I'm a novice.
No, that's okay. We didn't need to get to any. I will tell you, I did get a lot of Bucky Fowler. I did bet Bucky outright to win. I did bet him top 10. I did bet him top 20. I did back those up.
Can you give me the background of calling him Bucky? I've never heard that before.
There's really none. It's just there's really no background. It's I mean, his name starts with a B and ends in a Y. So
there's a little bit. So Steve, that Bucky is he's a marketing guy, he's a promo guy, and Cal thinks that he would be a great face. And you're from California, so I don't think you have these, but we have these Bucky gas stations.
When I go to Kentucky, brother, to do our whiskey.
Hold on, do you go to Bucky's?
I've been to one. So you remember Charlie, who was on the podcast?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I flew into Tennessee. Charlie drove up from Georgia and picked me up, and we saw a Bucky sign. But then he looked and said, "Oh, it's not on our way." And I'm like, "What is Bucky's?" And we were in Kentucky for 5 days. We probably talked about Bucky's 50 times, and then on the way back, we took a circumvented route to visit a couple distilleries. And I don't know if Charlie's modus operandi was to see those distilleries or to go buy a Bucky's, but he took me to my first Bucky's. And since I got back to California, all I've done is talk about Bucky's to everybody else.
All I want to know is, did you let him expense the mileage to go the roundabout way? It was probably a team. It was a team building event.
Yeah, Troy was with us also. It was the three of us. We had the time of our lives. We tasted whiskey. That trip on the way, we visited very small distilleries, not the big boys.
Sure.
And those guys give you so much personal attention and conversation. It was a blast. So yeah, he could expense it all he wants, and he could expense my fried chicken biscuit sandwich that I got, which was phenomenal. It was so good. That place. And I took pictures. I stood in the middle of the gas station row and took pictures both directions. I tried to do a panorama on my phone, but it didn't work. And then whenever I talk about it, I'm like, you got to see these two pictures back to back. This is looking to my right, and this is looking to my left.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that place was insane.
So I got a couple things I want to run by you. Where are you playing golf at? Any trips planned for golf?
So I just got back from Reno, Nevada. Played a couple of courses up there. Living in Southern California, we make our way up to Northern California and Nevada as often as we can. There's some good gambling. I am possibly going back to, I think I told you guys on our first podcast that I played in a course in Baja, Mexico, in Loreto, Mexico, called TPC Danzante Bay.
Oh yeah.
And that's on the horizon, possibly. And then I have a buddy turning 50, and we're contemplating Sun River Resort up in Oregon. So Bandon obviously is the famous one. This is a little inland, more near Bend, but but it looks like spectacular. 2 golf courses, little cottages to stay in, golf heaven. So those are on the horizon. And then 2024 is the big Europe trip. So Scotland and Ireland next year for another buddy who's turning 50.
Nice.
I don't know why these youngsters hang out with me. I'm almost 58. I don't know why these young kids let me go on golf trips with them, but they do.
Yeah, it's the glowing personality, man, and it's
I think it's because I bring that every time.
It could be booze. It could be a little Filmland spirits that comes along with the trip. So hold on. So you're heading to Reno.
Yeah,
I'm going to be in Vegas in a few weeks. Any recommendations for golf in Vegas?
Yeah, so Shadow Creek is the famous, everyone talks about one. So let's call that the Pebble Beach of Vegas. But Cascada, call that the Spyglass Hill of Vegas. Cascada is a little bit outside of Vegas. So let me give you the difference. And I think we may have talked about this before. There's courses that the people who build them move a lot of land, and it's almost like they have a blank canvas and they can do whatever they want to it. And I put Augusta in that category, and Shadow Creek is definitely in that category. It's literally on a flat piece of land, and they dug down and pushed hills up, and they made every mountain you see, every hill you see was man-made. Cascada is a little outside of Vegas, set in this kind of rock outcropping, and is 100% built into the land. It was a canvas that was already 80% filled, and they just planted some grass on it. So that's like more the Bandon Dunes, or in my comparison, Pebble Beach, the famous one is Shadow Creek. Cascada is the more, the second tier one, like Spyglass, which I actually think is better.
Which is not second tier by any stretch.
No. In terms of the upper echelon. Now those are probably the two. And then there's the one that they did the football players played with
the Capital One.
Yeah, I've never played that one.
Thing.
That looks great also, but that would be in the Shadow Creek category, where they just kind of tore up ground and built a golf course.
Is Casada, is it like accessible? Can I get it? I mean, could I get on and get a tee?
Oh yeah, you can get on. It's not one that you have to know somebody. I
don't have to. It's not a private club.
But it's expensive. Yeah. Then the next tier down is probably the one. What was Tiger's original coach's name?
Butch
Harmon. Yeah, I'm sorry. He's the
or Hank Haney.
It's Butch Harmon.
Okay.
So where he teaches. Rio Seco. The name was escaping me. Rio Seco is probably $100, $150 less than Cascada. Spectacular golf course also.
Which still means it's hundreds of dollars.
It's probably, So Cascada's probably in the $300 to $350 range, and then Rio Seco's probably in $200 to $250 range.
Yeah.
Are you playing with our Chasing Daylight guys?
I'm working on it. It's so I'm going for a wedding. Not my wedding, by the way, but I'm going for a wedding. And yes, I'm gonna try and meet up with them. It's just I'm trying to get everything, and I hope I meet up with Aaron out there too. So I sent him a message or sent him a text the other day and told him. So it was like yeah, who are you again? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm this guy. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. No, he did not say that. That's a joke. So I'm trying to record a show while we're out there. Maybe I'll do one with the Chasing Daylight guys. So we'll see how that goes.
Cal, are you a Top Golf guy? Do you enjoy Top Golf at all?
When necessary.
So I've been to a couple, and the one in Vegas is definitely different.
Isn't that the original one?
No, I think the original was in Texas.
And when you say different, I know what you mean.
Yes. So I wouldn't say if you have an itinerary to write it in now, but if you find yourself in a mood,
it's risque.
It's got 4 levels, and they change. The first one is family. So
there are different levels of engagement that you're going to have as you progress through the.
As you go up, it changes its vibe a little bit.
I'm a fan. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the third floor is, I think the fourth floor might actually only be private. I think you have to rent the fourth
Okay.
floor. The fourth and third have swimming pools.
Oh,
So
yeah. Understood.
you can go swimming if you want.
I can swim, so I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mom,
definitely if I had to tell you which floor I would recommend, it would be the third. Yeah.
oh, this is getting deep over here. I mean, I hope we don't get any C&Ds from this certain spirits company.
Well, it's just the angle into the 100-point shot is so much better from the third.
Oh,
Right. That's
see.
the only
Yeah,
reason
well,
I say.
right. As you're working on it.
Yeah.
If you go to the third floor, Cal, and you're overlooking the pool, it reminds you of like number 16 at Oak Hill.
Yeah.
And you gotta hit your sharp fade. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't hit it into the short grass, is what you're saying. Yeah, and understood. I can read between the lines, fellas. All right, what else we got, guys? I don't know. After all that, you want to plug anything, Steve?
No, I mean, look at guys. You've been so kind to our whiskey company. I love talking golf with you as much as I love talking whiskey with you. I'm happy to talk about either one of these two topics, and someday we'll bring cigars into the mix too, and we'll talk about all that. But you guys, it's just been fun rapping with you more than anything else.
Yeah,
the whiskey's been there. We've talked about it. I think it's been great. Thanks.
Yeah, we'll keep it up. We've got 2 more majors to go. Well, we've got 3 more majors to go. We haven't even started this one yet. So we got some fun stuff. And yeah,
We forgot about one thing, Cal. You mentioned this earlier, and we got to get Steve's take on this. You asked about the elevated events, and you wanted to get his take on the elevated events.
ooh, I did. You're right. I'm glad you made it.
Before you give me the question, I want to tell you one thing. We're less than halfway through the season, and the top 3 OWGR people or players on tour have all taken their pass. They're one by.
Let me elaborate. So, as a golf fan, I mean, you wouldn't be on here if we weren't drinking and or talking golf. Probably and talking golf, right? We wouldn't have met. So, I guess my question is, and I have my opinion, and I'll give it. And you've listened to some shows, so you already, and we've been on shows, so you already know my opinion. But what's your opinion on you are a professional, actually. You're a business professional, and as you're looking at the way that things are kind of laid out, and this is not a derogatory comment necessarily. It's more constructive criticism. I don't know if that's in today's cancel culture shit. I don't know if that's actually something you can say, but that's how I would view it. And you both will know what I'm talking about. Like, how do you think the PGA Tour, not the PGA Championship and not the US Open that's ran by the USGA, but the PGA Championship, I think that there's a lot of flaws in how they've managed things. I don't know how I would have managed it differently, but I think there are a lot of flaws.
Yeah. So in my life, if I make decisions reactionary, they're never as good as the decisions I make when I plan them out. And the current change of the PGA Tour was a reaction. Now, if you say you can have this reaction, or this reaction, maybe they pick the best of those, but all those reactions pale in comparison to well thought out strategic planning of what to do. So I think you can look at it as what they did was the best of the subcategory of reactionary to the LIV.
We had no plan, and
we reacted. And reacting, you never are optimal. And maybe they did what they could in that subcategory. But I think the rumblings of LIV were there long enough for them to make a proactive plan, and they didn't give it enough attention. They were a little too arrogant is probably too strong of a word, but like they didn't believe it was going to happen, and they waited till the end, and then therefore they had to be reactionary instead of when the rumblings were there thinking, oh, this is probably going to happen, and taking a little more time. And I think what the elevated events have done is taken a little intrigue out. Like we all know, we other than they all pick one, but we know what events they're going to be at, and we know what events they're not. And there used to be a little fun on not knowing that, and not knowing
Yeah,
causes the brain to work a little better.
Yeah, it's a monopoly, right? I mean, then not they're not breaking any rules, but it's like,
No.
gosh, we don't got to worry about those people. I mean, they're nobody's going to take over from us and take anything away. Yeah, I think it was. I'll phrase this. And do you want to phrase it, Dan, or do you want me to?
No, on YouTube.
If the CEO of a company would have not made decisions that didn't get made. I know that's a little bit of a double negative. It's a lot of a double negative. But if the CEO of a company didn't make the necessary decisions that needed to be made, would he still be in his position as a CEO? You don't have to answer. You can always, acknowledge and defer.
Yeah, it's it depends on what the next best alternative is, right?
Yeah.
So if there was someone, so the CEO's boss is the board of directors. So, right, in any company, the CEO's boss is a group of people who aren't employees of the company, but they're hired to kind of oversee. If they know there's someone that they like that's better, that person usually is replaced. But if they don't have a next best alternative, they can get away with some bad decisions sometimes. So I think that might be the case right now.
That's a very political and constructive way to phrase that.
Well, it's based on what I've seen in my 30-something years in bigger businesses. Is when you see who's in charge, it's the face and it's what's in the limelight. But knowing what's behind the scenes gives you a feeling of how short the leash is, maybe, for someone making a mistake or not. And my hunch would be that if they're not happy with it and they don't have someone waiting in the wings, then people get more chances that way.
Sure.
Yeah, so we definitely need to get on and talk outside of the majors, because I think this is a fun business aspect of golf that most people don't really think about or talk about. Well, they think the riders do, and they exploit it. And I don't know if we exploited anything. We didn't. We just state the obvious, and it's it kind of is what it is. So yeah, fun.
Personally, I'm giving them a little bit of a pass because I didn't take LIV seriously either. So you guys should have taken it seriously. I mean, that's hypocritical, because I thought there's no way this is going to happen. There's no way. It's
it's happening.
Yeah. And so to say, well, they should have seen it happening, but my own personal assessment of it was it wasn't. So I'm letting them, hey, they made a reactionary decision. Let's give it a little bit of time. And to see what the second or third reaction to it is before I judge it holistically.
All right. I'm going to lighten things up. I got one question. Well, it's maybe an open-ended one, but then I got a couple questions for you. They're going to be fun. So as we get to know Steve a little bit.
What is your stance on Ukraine and Russia, Steve?
No, that's not anywhere where I was going. Wasn't even thinking about that. Not even thinking. This is supposed to be a lighthearted show. Say sometimes you misspell things into the bot and AI, and then it comes up with shit like that.
Let's go.
How do you feel about Malibu?
Oh, okay.
The city?
Yeah.
I'm just saying the boo. Do you know who Mel Gibson is? Right. I mean, how do you feel about the boo?
I love being able to visit it anytime I want, and I'm glad I don't live there.
Okay. Fair enough.
So you can't, I'm facing west right now. So if I turn my laptop around, I'd show you a mountain that Malibu is directly over. I'm within the way a bird would fly 20 miles of it if I had to take roads. It's a fun place to go. But living there is not my style.
Okay. There are no unfair answers. And hopefully the question was fair, because I just didn't know if you meant the city or the rum. That's all. I didn't Ooh, no.
And then the second one, I wouldn't have been as kind. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm. If I'm drinking rum, I'm going to drink the real stuff. I don't
Yep.
need to. Yeah.
Apparently, Cal, apparently Malibu is not a third floor type of place.
Well, only if you know the right
Well,
people.
Yeah, I'm not tall enough nor handsome enough to thrive in the city of Malibu.
All right. So,
Or do I have enough hair to thrive in the city of Malibu?
all right. What about? Are you driving your dream car, or are you still in the market for it?
I'm driving. I'm not. My dream car will be purchased if and when Filmland Spirits either takes off as an independent entity, or someone sees us and thinks that company's going places and we're going to acquire it. Then I'll buy my dream car, which is a BMW M6 convertible.
Okay. The color?
Dark gray. So and actually I had my dream car once, considering my place in life. When you buy a car that you can't afford and you shouldn't, I did have a M3 at one time, and I shouldn't have, but that was 2010 or 2002. I bought that car, and I couldn't afford it, and it was stupid. It was a stupid purchase. So I had it for a while, and then I had a family, and I kind of got more sane again. So if Filmland Spirits kicks ass, I'll get my second dream car.
I don't know how it's not going to, by the way.
Yeah, things are going well. I mean, we're not even a year old, and things are going pretty well.
I got one more. Let me slip one more in, Dan, and then you can go. So are you a watch guy?
I was early when I used to wear a suit to work. I always had a nice watch. And then when I moved up to the last company I was at, and things got a little more casual, and the phone took over, and I found myself looking at my phone at the time.
You are too fucking old school to be looking at your phone for.
I know. I kind of fell out of it, and I never got back into it. Yeah, so it's in the 90s and early 2000s I was, and then probably from like 5 on, it's faded out of my repertoire of fashion statements.
Hey,
yeah, that's good looking.
Bring it back, boy. Bring it back. It's time. It's time. Go for the Tudor Black Bay 58. I'm
okay. Well noted.
Dan, what you got?
Yeah, I don't have much for Steve. We talked to him, a couple weeks ago. So I all my fun questions are kind of used up. But how are you going to watch the PGA this week? You got any big plans? You gonna order any food or cook food or anything like that?
No. So typically, I record golf, and I try to play during the day, and then I get home, kind of kick it, and then I watch it recorded and skip. I skip the commercials for sure. The harder part for me is skipping the half and half screen, because it frustrates me to see the players but not hear it, and it's on the right. But I typically don't watch it live, other than the majors and the PGA obviously being a major. There's a chance on Sunday, Saturday I'll be golfing, so I won't be able to watch it live. Sunday,
where are you playing?
So I play in a course called Las Posas Country Club up here in Camarillo. Yeah. Sundays are iffy. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But that one I might watch live on Sunday.
We got a little money game going on, or what's happening there?
We have a group of about 10 or 15 guys that we text on Friday. Hopefully 8 show up, sometimes only 4. We play, if there's more than one group, we play a group on group match of just $20. Typically pick two best balls. And then within our group of 4, we, on the first tee, throw up balls, whichever 2 are closer. We just have a Nassau that we play.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Love it, man. Steve Canepa, what do you want to leave us with, bud? We got to get you out of here. I actually prefaced this chat with, we won't go over an hour, and that's bullshit. It's a good thing you loaded up a little more. So
I will leave you with how difficult my life is that last night at around 12:30 a.m. I had 3 little tester bottles that I had to test, which were different barrels we were thinking about purchasing. And this morning at a brutal time of 9:30, my first meeting of the day was with Troy Bolotnick, who you guys talked to on the first
Sure.
podcast, and Charlie Flint. We all tasted these separately. They were shipped to us from different places, and we picked the barrels we're going to purchase for hopefully a future release of Filmland Spirits. And we made a decision today, and I was excited as hell. And that's how rough my life is right now.
So what you're saying is you started the day drinking and you're ending the day drinking.
Yeah.
Well,
and talking to you guys was the highlight. So with all that, it was fun talking to you guys.
awesome,
Steve, do
bud.
you prefer to test to like sample in the morning or in the afternoon, like when you're doing that?
So I actually received the samples on Saturday, and I made a cocktail, and I didn't want to drink them after having an old fashioned, so I waited till Sunday, and I thought I'm going to do it afternoon.
Mhm.
And then things progressed, and I didn't do it. And then I had a sunset cocktail. I'm like, well, I can't do it now, and that's why I was doing it at 12:30. I had to cleanse the palate and get all the flavors of the stuff I had earlier. But to me, there's no bad time to drink whiskey.
How did you guys settle on so you were tasting, and if this is too much information, don't tell me.
Sure.
But so you were tasting, and you're like, yeah, we're going to do these, we're going to do those. Did everybody settle on kind of the same thing, or was it like a little?
Yeah. So what we basically is compare notes and find either a single barrel that we think could stand on its own, or if it's from a batch, we feel like and we know the maker, we know that the variety will be enough that we could blend several barrels together and feel very confident we'll be able to find something we like. And with the one we decided on, it was that second category. The one we were tasting was a barrel. We didn't think it would be a single barrel, but we know who made it. And we know if we buy a batch from them, that there'll be enough that we can blend to find somewhere between 6 and 10 of those barrels. And we feel very comfortable we'll make something that we know people will like.
Don't ever lose your transparency, man. I think that's one of the really cool things. And I've said it every time that we've recorded and we've talked. I mean, the fiction that is on the bottle is nonfiction in the bottle.
Yeah, that appreciate that, and we will always be transparent. I mean, I think the credibility it gives you, and then we don't think everybody should like everything, so we don't want someone to spend their money on something that they are not going to like. We want them to enjoy it. So to ever lead people down a road and have them spend their hard money and then be disappointed is the biggest crime we could commit, right? Like, if you don't like whiskey from Thousand Oaks, California, that was made and bought, like, obviously I'm making this up, we're going to make sure it's from there, so that if you don't like it, we don't want you to be disappointed. Money is too valuable of a commodity to waste. So we'll always tell everybody exactly what's going on our bottles.
Yeah, I love it, man. I think it's great. Well, we'll see how our bets do. We'll here's what we will do on our next call is I'll get everything written down, and I'll see what we bet or what we talked about that we were betting. And we'll see how we did. And I don't know, probably the next time we chat's going to be the US Open.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
All right,
gentlemen.
brothers.
Thank you.